Pan-Yoruba social political organization Afenifere commends Yoruba elders for reconciling President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Chief Bode George. Court bars lawyers and journalists from covering Abba Kyari's illicit drug trial. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors begins 5-day nationwide warning strike. And also coming up on Politics HQ, Tunisia's opposition leader Rachid Ghannouchi sentenced to a year in prison. And Libya's eastern-based parliament replaces Fatih Bashagha as its appointed prime minister. Now, joining me on Politics headquarters today, I will be speaking with Oba Maduabuchi, a senior advocate of Nigerian lawyer representing the Action Alliance Party, and also Dr. Muda Yusuf, CEO, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise. Stay with us. Politics HQ. We'll be right back. Now, the Action Alliance Party, AA, last week withdrew its petition against the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressive Congress and Nigeria's president-elect. The party announced the withdrawal of its petition last Monday, and controversy has since surrounded the decision. The Action Alliance's main ground for the petition was the exclusion of David Okanigbuan, their party's candidate. The party claimed that INEC was wrong to have excluded its candidate and tackled the quality of the results and electoral process. Today on the program, I am joined by the head of the party's legal team, Barrister Oba Maduabuchi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, as we discuss in detail the grounds for the petition and the reason for the eventual withdrawal of this case. A warm welcome to you, Barrister Oba Maduabuchi. It's a pleasure to have you join us on Politics HQ.
Hello, sorry, I didn't get that.
Good evening to you, sir, and we're happy to have you join us on Politics HQ. Can you hear me, sir?
Good evening, my brother. It's good for you to have me.
Yes. Now, Barrister Maduabuchi, what were the specific factors or developments that led the Action Alliance Party to make the decision to withdraw its petition against the Independent National Electoral Commission and President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, let me start by saying that in politics, there are always negotiations, lobbying, and give and take. Like APC is running all over the place, trying to zone offices of the National Assembly. Some people are disenchanted and all that. So you always have give and take in politics. But that question should go to the hierarchy of Action Alliance. Because I am their lawyer, they instructed me to file the petition, which, in my humble opinion, would have scuttled the whole entire electoral process. And then after some time, they say, okay, we have decided that we don't want the petition again. It's not for me to ask them, why do you want to withdraw your petition? The way of politicians are not the way of lawyers. So they know why they asked me to withdraw it. I couldn't say no, so I had to withdraw.
Now, I understand that, I mean, it's the internal workings of the party, and you are a lawyer, but I believe you might be privy to some insights and information into the internal discussions within the Action Alliance that preceded the decision to discontinue further proceedings in this matter. In your opening statement, you did mention that, you know, politicians, that there's the art of deal making and all of that, but what insights can you give us into the internal discussions within the party? I said, what insights can you provide for us into the internal discussions within the Action Alliance that preceded this decision to discontinue further proceedings in this matter?
Like I said, it's the party that instructed me to withdraw. I'm not a member of Action Alliance. I'm simply their lawyer. And so they held their meetings and wrote me a letter saying, withdraw this petition. And you know that withdrawing an election petition is not, you don't walk into court and say, I want to withdraw. There are processes. So when they told me around Wednesday, I kickstarted the process. It's not for me to ask them, why are you withdrawing your petition? They didn't give me any reason when they asked me to file the petition. So they were not obliged to give me any reason when they said I should withdraw. So I don't know what transpired. I don't know what it is. But like I said, if there were discussions between the political party and any other person, I won't be surprised, because that is the essence of politics, give and take. If the petition that is as so devastating as that petition, in my opinion, you won't just withdraw it because somebody says go and withdraw it. So there must have been said one or two or three things that, because the Court of Appeal cannot tell you the man you are collecting candidates from is not a member of Action Alliance. The Federal Court on 3 occasions said, this is the person you are supposed to collect candidates from, and you refuse. Then what would have been their defense?
Now let's delve deeper into this primary argument, this devastating, this argument that you talked about. Could you delve deeper into the primary arguments put forth by the Action Alliance?
Radio is bad.
Now, I was saying, can you delve deeper into the primary arguments put forth by the Action Alliance in their petition against INEC and the president-elect, especially regarding the alleged invalidity of the presidential election? What was the argument in the first place?
Well, no, I didn't get it properly, but if you're asking me what were the main points that took me to that petition?
Yes.
I don't know what.
Yes.
Like I said, there were, Action Alliance had a national chairman that was leading the National Executive Committee of the party. They held their primaries and picked a presidential candidate and sent his name to INEC. INEC refused to accept that name. I went to court before Justice Zainab Abubakar, and Justice Zainab said, please, that is the proper candidate of Action Alliance. I went to Justice Nyako's court. I'm calling names. I said, why are you people wasting our time? The court has already ordered that these are the people that you must accept their candidate. The Court of Appeal on 2 occasions told them that the people you are dealing with are not members of Action Alliance. They have been dismissed 2 occasions, 2 judgments of the Court of Appeal. So why should INEC insist on dealing with people when the courts, including the Court of Appeal, has told them the people you are dealing with are not members of INEC? So that was why I was a bit shocked when I was asked to withdraw the petition. But that is the way politicians.
It's the decision for the politicians. Now, regarding Major Hamza Al-Mustafa, who was cited as the 4th respondent, can you provide more details on the Action Alliance's stance regarding his candidacy? Did they question his eligibility or legitimacy in the electoral process?
Yes, you see, Hamza Al-Mustafa was the candidate which INEC feeded for Action Alliance. I do not see how INEC can pick a candidate for Action Alliance, but they did. They picked Hamza Al-Mustafa. That's why I made him a defendant, a respondent to the petition, so that he will come and explain how he came to become the presidential candidate of Action Alliance. It would have been an interesting petition, but somehow, the opportunity has been lost. Because there are things INEC does. When people complain about INEC, it is things like this. Being the spirit of death, like we say, nothing is happening, nothing matters. It's so, how can courts tell you this is the executive you have to deal with? This is the people you are dealing with are not even members of the party. And you insist on dealing with them. Who are you?
And what was INEC's response? What was INEC's response, and what reasoning did they give for recognizing Major Hamza Al-Mustafa?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
What reason did INEC give? Was there a response from INEC to recognizing its recognition of Major Hamza Al-Mustafa?
They didn't tell me anything. I wrote letters myself. I wrote letters, attached orders of court, attached the list of candidates of Action Alliance. They brushed it aside and decided to go with Hamza.
Now, so before the case,
would be able to answer that.
Before the case was taken to court, what evidence or reasoning did the Action Alliance, through your legal services, present to support your claim that Major Hamza Al-Mustafa was not a member of the party and did not participate in the presidential primary elections? What evidence was provided to support this claim?
Everything from the person they call their national chairman. The court said these people are not members of Action Alliance. They have been dismissed. They were suspended and then dismissed from the party. That is what the Court of Appeal said on 2 occasions, in January last year and in November last year. The Court of Appeal in Abuja. And INEC was a respondent in the appeal. So, why should you insist on Al-Mustafa when they have told you that the man producing him is not even a member of Action Alliance? So that is what is baffling. That is what is very, very baffling.
Now let's look at the dictates of the law. What specific provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 and the Nigerian Constitution and INEC guidelines did the Action Alliance believe were violated, and how did these violations impact the election's outcome?
You see, for you to be a candidate in an election under the Constitution, you must, well, apart from education and all that, you must belong to a political party and be sponsored by that political party. Once you are not sponsored by a political party, you cannot be a candidate in that election. And Action Alliance, properly so called, did not sponsor Hamza Al-Mustafa. They did not. And under the Electoral Act, Section 84 says parties shall hold primaries. And it is the candidate that emerges from those proper primaries that will start the election on the platform of the party. Action Alliance conducted primaries, and INEC, on their own, refused to accept the result of these primaries. And went and picked somebody who the party doesn't know to be their presidential candidate. So that is why I said, I don't know why politicians think the way they do. They should have allowed us argue that petition. Let us see how anybody will tell me that about 8 court judgments tell you to deal with Mr. A, and you, INEC, will continue dealing with Mr. B. It would have been nice to see what the tribunal would have told you.
Now, why did you seek a disqualification? What were your prayers to the courts in this presidential election petition tribunal? Because from our discussion so far, the issue the Action Alliance had was with INEC for not recognizing the duly elected candidate of the party's flag bearer, and recognizing another person. So where did they go to the presidential election petition tribunal?
No, what I asked the tribunal to do was to set aside the whole presidential election on grounds of non-compliance with the Electoral Act, based on unlawful exclusion. Unlawful exclusion does not have an answer once you prove that you are validly nominated and you were unlawfully excluded. All we needed to do is to show that Omo just submitted the name of somebody, not Hamza. And INEC on their own decided that Hamza was the candidate they want to use. And that would have been the end of the whole election.
But don't you think it was an extreme measure? It's similar to throwing away the baby in the bathwater. Would you know how much the country put into time and resources and finances into conducting these elections. Wasn't it a bit too extreme of a prayer to be asking the courts?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said the decision to your petition seek to, override the results of the presidential elections and cancel it because INEC refused to recognize the legitimate candidate that was put forward by the Action Alliance. Don't you think it is an extreme prayer, looking at the situation on ground, the amount of finances, time, and resources put into conducting those elections?
You see, that is why I said I would have liked to do that petition. I would have liked to hear what INEC will say, for them to give us reason why they picked a candidate for Action Alliance. And maybe these are some of the reasons Action Alliance considered and decided to ask me to withdraw. Because you cannot spend 400 plus billion on an election, and INEC, by just a stroke of an advert, a deliberate, I don't know how to put it, you decide that a candidate of a party, you will not take that one. INEC has no right to pick a candidate for anybody. You don't have the right.
So why did you join the APC in this petition as respondents?
The APC?
The APC and the presidential candidate, the president-elect.
You see, in law, you cannot, APC sponsored Bola Tinubu. Tinubu purportedly won the election. And the person that occupied the position of Action Alliance is Alhaji Hamza Mustafa. So these are necessary parties. If you remove any of them, the petition will be incompetent. Because the man you are saying was picked by INEC, you must give him a hearing. The party that sponsored the president-elect, you must give it a hearing. The president-elect, you must give him a hearing. That is legal. Then INEC itself, who we are accusing, must be a party. So that is why we had four respondents. There's none of them you would have removed, and the petition would be competent. That was what happened to me when I did Kogi in 2015. There was a party I didn't include. They struck out the petition.
Now, finally, Barrister Maduabuchi, how do you anticipate the withdrawal of this petition? How do you anticipate it would impact the future political landscape, particularly in relation to the Action Alliance party? Are there any potential ramifications for their standing or reputation? And also, considering the withdrawal, what message does the Action Alliance hope to convey to its supporters and general public regarding the decision and the issues raised in their petition?
Well, like I said, I am not a politician. I am simply a lawyer, even though I do a lot of political matters. And the message from Action Alliance to its supporters, that will come from their national chairman, Omo Ajay, not from me. I am very, very angry that that petition was withdrawn. Because it would have taught INEC a lesson that they are not God. They can't do just what they like. But like I said, politicians, maybe they have held their discussions and decided the best expedient for them and instructed that I should withdraw. So that's it. But otherwise, as for me, I wouldn't have agreed to withdraw that petition.
Okay. Thank you very much, Barrister Oba Maduabuchi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and lawyer representing the Action Alliance, for talking to us in Politics HQ. We do appreciate your time and contribution.
Thank you very, very much. It's good to have you.
You're welcome.
I'm happy you have me.